The Richest Man in Babylon. Please be part of our success story. Subscribe, like, and share the work of this channel. We want to grow with you. Now let's break down the book chapter by chapter. Introduction. The Richest Man in Babylon begins by setting the stage in ancient Babylon, one of the wealthiest cities of the ancient world. The introduction explains that the book isn't fiction in the mythological sense, but rather it uses simple parables set in Babylon to teach timeless principles of money management and personal finance. Babylon as a model of prosperity. Ancient Babylon was known for its wealth, trade, and economic success. The introduction uses Babylon as a metaphor for financial wisdom that still applies today. Lessons through stories. Instead of dry financial rules, the book teaches through stories about merchants, tradesmen, and common citizens who learn how to build wealth. Practical wisdom for all. The book emphasizes that financial success isn't only for the rich. Anyone who follows the principles can grow wealth regardless of income level. Simple, timeless rules. The introduction leads into principles such as saving consistently, living below your means, investing wisely, and protecting your wealth. How wealth is created. The mentality of money and success. Importance of financial discipline. Learning from those who succeeded before you. Chapter 1. Foreword. The foreword explains why this book was written and how the reader should use it. It is not a story chapter. It is a purpose-setting chapter. 1. Why the book uses Babylon. The foreword explains that the author chose Babylon because it was one of the richest and most successful cities of the ancient world. Babylon is presented as a center of trade, a center of learning, a place where people understood money and wealth. The idea is, if people long ago could master money, then people today can also learn the same principles. Babylon is used as a symbol of financial wisdom. 2. The book teaches through stories, not theory. The foreword makes it clear that this book will not teach finance using technical language. Instead, it teaches using short stories, simple conversations, everyday characters, workers, tradesmen, and common citizens, who learn how to build wealth. These stories are called parables. The foreword explains that stories make lessons easier to remember, easier to understand, easier to apply in real life. 3. The lessons are meant for ordinary people. A very important message in the foreword is that the book is written for workers, employees, small business people, and people who feel they are always short of money. It is not only for rich people. The foreword stresses that wealth is not reserved for a special class of people. It is available to anyone who learns the right habits. 4. Wealth is controlled by principles, not luck. The foreword introduces one of the biggest ideas of the whole book. People become wealthy because they follow certain rules, not because of luck, inheritance, talent alone, education alone. It prepares the reader to accept that money behaves according to laws and principles. If a person learns those principles and applies them, results will follow. 5. The knowledge in the book is timeless. The foreword clearly states that even though the stories happen in ancient times, the lessons are still valid today. The message is, human nature has not changed. People still earn money, struggle with spending, desire security, make mistakes with investments. So the financial lessons remain useful in modern life. 6. What the reader is expected to do. The foreword encourages the reader to read slowly, think about each story, and apply the ideas to personal life. It implies that reading alone will not change your finances. Action and habit change are required. Main purpose of the foreword. The foreword exists to explain the style of the book, to explain why Babylon is used, to convince the reader that wealth is learnable, and to prepare the reader for practical money lessons. Core message of Chapter 1, Foreword. Anyone can become financially successful if they learn and practice proven money principles. In one short sentence, the foreword tells you that this book will teach simple, proven money habits through easy stories, and that those habits can work for you no matter who you are. Chapter 2. The Man Who Desired Gold. This chapter is a short parable about desire, discipline, and the first step toward wealth. Main character: Bansir, a skilled chariot builder living in Babylon. Even though he is good at his work, he is always short of money. What happens in the story? Bansir sits outside his house feeling frustrated. He realizes something very important. He works hard but has nothing to show for it. He begins to think deeply about his life and asks himself why he is poor when other people in Babylon are wealthy. While he is thinking, he remembers an old childhood friend named Kabi. Kabi is also a hardworking man and is also poor. Bansir calls Kabi to come and talk with him. The conversation between Bansir and Kabi. When they talk, both men agree on 3 things. They have worked hard for many years. They have always hoped that one day they would become rich, but they are still struggling. They realize something painful. Hard work alone did not make them wealthy. They both truly desire gold or money, but they do not know how to keep it. The key realization of the chapter. Bansir makes a very important observation. There are many people in Babylon who earn money, but only some become rich, so the problem is not earning. The problem is not knowing how to manage money. Why they talk about Arcad. During their discussion, they mention Arcad. Arcad is known as the richest man in Babylon, someone who started life poor. This is important. It shows that Arcad is not rich because of privilege. He is rich because he learned something they did not. So Bansir decides they must go and learn from Arcad. The central conflict of the chapter. The conflict is not between people. It is between desire to be rich and lack of knowledge about money. They want wealth, but they do not know the rules of wealth. Main message of the chapter. This chapter teaches that wanting money is not enough, working hard is not enough, earning money is not enough. You must learn how money works. The deeper lesson. Many people believe, if I just earn more, my problems will disappear. This chapter quietly shows that if your money habits do not change, your financial situation will not change either. Psychological lesson in this chapter. The chapter focuses on honest self-awareness. Bansir does not blame his boss, the economy, his background. He accepts, something is missing in my knowledge. This mindset is the starting point of wealth in the whole book. Key ideas introduced in this chapter. Desire for wealth is natural. Frustration with poverty can be a good starting point. Successful people know something others do not. Learning from successful people is wise. How this chapter connects to the next one. This chapter prepares the story for meeting Arcad, learning the real rules of money. It is the setup chapter. In one simple summary, The Man Who Desired Gold shows 2 hardworking men who realize that their problem is not lack of effort, it is lack of financial knowledge, and they decide to learn from someone who has mastered money. Chapter 3. The Richest Man in Babylon. This is the chapter where the real teaching begins. It shows how poor men finally sit at the feet of the richest man in their city and learn the first true law of wealth. The setting. Early in the morning in Babylon, a group of poor and struggling men gather together. Among them are Bansir, the chariot builder, and Kabi, his friend, several other workers and traders. They all share one thing. They work hard, but they are still poor. They have come with one clear purpose: to learn from Arkad, the richest man in Babylon. Who is Arkad? Arkad is famous in Babylon, but the most powerful part of his story is this: he was once as poor as they are. He did not inherit his wealth. He was not born rich. That is why the men respect him. They believe, if Arkad could rise from nothing, then maybe we can too. The men sit before Arkad. Arkad welcomes them and listens to their complaints. They tell him, "We earn money, we struggle every month, nothing remains at the end." Arkad looks at them calmly and begins to teach. Arkad's first great question. He challenges their thinking. In simple terms, he makes them understand something shocking. If you keep doing what you have always done, you will keep getting what you have always gotten. They want a different result, but they have not learned different habits. The core teaching of this chapter. This chapter teaches only one major rule, and it is very powerful. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. This is the heart of the chapter, not a part of what is left after spending, but a part of everything you earn must be saved first. Why this idea shocks them. The men immediately begin to complain. They say in their hearts, "I already struggle, I barely survive, I have many responsibilities. How can I save?" Arkad explains something very important. Most people allow their expenses to grow until they consume all their income, so no matter how much they earn, they still end with nothing. So wealth does not start with earning more. It starts with controlling what leaves your hand. The rule becomes practical. Arkad gives them a simple, clear instruction. Save at least 1/10 of everything you earn. Not sometimes, not when things are good, but always. This saved money is not to be touched for daily living. It becomes the foundation of your future wealth. The deeper lesson, very important. Arkad is not just teaching money, he is teaching self-discipline. Because saving first means you control yourself, not your appetite, not your lifestyle, not social pressure. This is the real battle. The men fear suffering. They worry, if I save part of my income, will I not suffer? Arkad answers by explaining, life will adjust. Your expenses will reorganize themselves. You will learn to live within what remains. The big picture Arkad gives them. He explains that saved money becomes your working servant later. But first, you must create the habit of owning money. Before money can work for you, you must learn to keep it. Why this chapter is extremely important. This chapter is not about investing. It is not about business. It is not about side hustles. It is about the first step that makes all of those possible. The emotional change in the men. By the end of Arkad's talk, they feel hopeful, empowered, and responsible. They realize their future is not in the hands of employers or kings. It is in their daily habits. Central message of this chapter. You cannot build wealth unless you first learn to keep part of what you earn. How this chapter fits into the whole book. This chapter lays the foundation. All other rules later in the book depend on this one habit. If you skip this rule, the rest of the book cannot work. In one powerful sentence, the richest man in Babylon teaches that wealth begins the moment you decide that part of every income belongs to your future, not your present. Chapter 4. 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. This chapter is where Arcad now teaches complete money discipline. In chapters 3, he gave only the first rule. In this chapter, he gives the full system. It is presented as a public lesson given by Arcad to the people of Babylon. Background of the chapter. The king of Babylon wants the city to become stronger and richer. So he asks Arcad, the richest man in Babylon, to teach the citizens how wealth is built. Arcad is asked to train a group of men and give them practical financial instruction. He introduces his teaching as 7 cures for a lean purse, meaning 7 remedies for always being short of money. Cure 1. Start thy purse to fattening, meaning save a fixed part of everything you earn. Arcad tells them clearly, keep at least 1/10 of all you earn. This is not optional. It must come first. Why this cure matters? Because if you do not first create a surplus, you will never have capital to build wealth. This cure creates the habit of ownership over your money. Cure 2. Control thy expenditures, meaning live on less than you earn. Arcad explains that most people confuse needs and desires. Desires are unlimited. Income is limited. Practical lesson. Make a list of expenses and ask, is this necessary or is this only something I want? He does not say, live in suffering. He says, spend wisely. Cure 3. Make thy gold multiply, meaning your saved money must be put to work so that it produces more money. Gold should not sleep. It must work. Arcad explains, money that only sits and does nothing will never make you wealthy. But when wisely invested, it brings profit, interest, and opportunity. Your savings must become productive. Cure 4. Guard thy treasures from loss, meaning protect your money from foolish investments. Arcad strongly warns about get-rich-quick promises, friends who are not skilled in business, ventures you do not understand. The real teaching: before you invest, make sure knowledgeable and experienced people are involved. Do not trust excitement, trust competence. Cure 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment, meaning, if possible, own your home instead of always renting. In Arcad's time, this meant owning your house so your money would not constantly flow out as rent. Deeper meaning today: reduce permanent living expenses. Turn your living situation into something that helps your future instead of draining it forever. Cure 6. Ensure a future income, meaning prepare for old age and unexpected hardship. Arcad teaches that a wise person plans for sickness, loss of ability to work, and old age. The message: wealth is not only about today, it is about protecting tomorrow. Cure 7. Increase thy ability to earn, meaning invest in yourself, increase your skills, improve your knowledge, become more valuable. Arcad teaches, a person who keeps learning will always have greater opportunity to earn more income. This is how your earning power grows. How the 7 cures work together. They are not separate rules, they are a system. Here is how they flow. 1. Save first. 2. Control spending. 3. Invest. 4. Protect investments. 5. Reduce long-term expenses. 6. Prepare for the future. 7. Grow your earning power. Each cure supports the others. The deep purpose of this chapter. This chapter answers one big question. I am broke. What exactly should I do? And it answers it step by step. Emotional and psychological lesson. The chapter teaches that being poor is not only a money problem, it is often a habit problem. When habits change, finances change. Why this chapter is one of the most important in the book? Because it gives a complete personal finance blueprint, discipline, not shortcuts, protection, not just profit, future security, not just present comfort. One-sentence summary. 7 Cures for a Lean Purse teaches a complete system of saving, spending wisely, investing safely, planning ahead, and improving yourself so your money and your life can steadily grow. Chapter 5. Meet the Goddess of Good Luck. This chapter is short, but it carries a very powerful message about opportunity and action. Setting of the story. The story is told through the conversation between 2 men. One of them is a merchant who is discouraged and unhappy. He feels that good luck never comes his way. He believes others succeed because they're lucky, not because they are wiser. The 2 characters. One man believes strongly in luck. The other man understands how opportunity really works. The second man becomes the teacher in the story. The problem raised in this chapter. The complaining man believes, if only the gods favored me, I would succeed. He thinks success is controlled by forces outside himself. This is the central misunderstanding the chapter corrects. Introduction of the Goddess of Good Luck. The Goddess of Good Luck is not presented as a real goddess. She is a symbol. She represents opportunity. The main teaching. The chapter teaches that good luck is not something that is given to people randomly. It comes to people who are prepared, willing to act, and willing to take responsibility. How opportunity works in the story. The teacher explains that opportunities often appear quietly, suddenly, in simple forms. They do not come announced. They do not wait. They appear and quickly pass. Why many people miss good luck. The chapter explains that many people miss their opportunities because they hesitate, they doubt themselves, they wait too long, they fear making mistakes, they fear criticism. By the time they are ready, the opportunity is gone. The story example used in the chapter. The chapter uses a short example of a man who had a chance to invest or trade. The opportunity was real and reasonable, but he delayed. He wanted more certainty, more reassurance, more comfort. While he delayed, another man acted. The other man gained the benefit. The painful realization. The discouraged man finally understands. The opportunity was not taken away from him. He walked away from it. The psychological shift. This chapter changes the reader's mindset from, I am unlucky, to, I must learn to recognize and act on opportunity. Central lesson of the chapter. The Goddess of Good Luck helps only those who move. She does not reward waiting. She rewards action. Very important balance in the message. This chapter does not teach reckless behavior. It does not say, jump into everything. It means, when a sensible opportunity appears and you have the ability to act, you must not delay. How this chapter fits into the 7 cures. They support making your gold multiply, increasing your ability to earn, because without action, both remain only ideas. Deeper meaning from modern life. Today, this applies to learning new skills, taking career opportunities, starting small businesses, investing wisely when you are prepared. Emotional message. The chapter quietly teaches responsibility. It removes excuses. It empowers the reader. One-sentence summary. Meet the Goddess of Good Luck teaches that what people call luck is usually the reward for noticing opportunity and having the courage to act on it before it disappears. Chapter 6. The 5 Laws of Gold. This chapter is told as a story within a story. It explains how wealth is built and how it is destroyed. The story frame. A wealthy man in Babylon wants to help his son learn how to handle money properly. So he arranges for a story to be told to the son, a true lesson passed down from the past. This lesson comes in the form of 5 laws written on a clay tablet. These laws describe how gold behaves. Why these laws exist. The chapter explains that money is not random, it follows patterns. Those who understand these patterns build wealth. Those who ignore them lose wealth. Law 1. Gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who puts by no less than 1/10 of his earnings to create a future for himself and his family. Meaning, if you save consistently, your wealth begins to grow naturally. Deep explanation. Saving is the foundation. Without saved capital, no law can work. This law reinforces what Arcad taught earlier. Gold grows where discipline exists. Law 2. Gold labors diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying as the flocks in the field. Meaning, saved money must be put to productive use. Deep explanation. Money must work. When invested wisely, it produces income and growth. But the word wise is important. Gold works only when guided intelligently. Law 3. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. Meaning, your money is safe when you rely on expert and experienced guidance. Deep explanation. The chapter strongly warns against trusting untrained friends, enthusiastic amateurs, emotional advice. Wealth is protected by knowledge and experience. Law 4. Gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keeping. Meaning, if you invest in what you do not understand, you invite loss. Deep explanation. This law is about ignorance. Excitement is not a strategy. Understanding is protection. If you cannot clearly explain how profit will be made, you should not invest. Law 5. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience. Meaning, greed destroys wealth. Deep explanation. Promises of very high returns in a short time are dangerous. The law teaches that the desire to get rich quickly is one of the greatest enemies of money. The emotional lesson of the story. The son learns something deeper than rules. He learns wealth is fragile when handled emotionally. It requires patience. The combined power of the 5 laws. Together, the laws say 1. Save consistently. 2. Invest productively. 3. Seek experienced guidance. 4. Avoid what you do not understand. 5. Reject greed and shortcuts. Why this chapter is very important. Because many people can save, but many people lose what they save. This chapter focuses on keeping wealth, not just building it. Modern application, especially relevant today. These laws apply perfectly to online investments, crypto hype, forex signals, unregistered schemes, social media investment mentors. The same dangers exist, only the names have changed. Central message of the chapter. Gold stays and grows only with the patient, informed, and disciplined owner. One-sentence summary. The 5 laws of gold teaches how money grows when treated wisely and how it disappears when handled with ignorance, greed, or blind trust. Chapter 7. The Gold Lender of Babylon. This chapter is about lending money, but more deeply, it is about human behavior around debt, pity, and pressure. It shows how good intentions can easily destroy your wealth if they are not guided by wisdom. The setting. The story is centered around Rodan, a simple and hard-working spearmaker in Babylon. Rodan has saved some gold. He's proud of it, and rightly so. But now he faces a difficult emotional situation. The main characters. Rodan, the saver, careful and honest. Matan, his sister's husband, his brother-in-law. Arcad, The Richest Man in Babylon. The emotional problem. Matan comes to Rodan with a sad and urgent story. He's in financial trouble. He needs gold. He promises that if Rodan helps him, everything will become better. Rodan feels trapped. If he refuses, he looks heartless. If he agrees, he risks his future. This is the emotional conflict of the chapter. Rodan's fear. He is afraid of two things: losing his money and damaging family relationships. So he goes to Arkad to ask for advice. This is very important. He does not rush into lending. He seeks wisdom. Arkad's calm wisdom. Arkad listens and asks Rodan a simple but powerful question. Is your brother-in-law skilled in making profits? Not, is he honest? Not, is he desperate? But, is he capable of turning borrowed money into more money? The real issue. Arkad explains that lending money to someone who does not know how to make money is not kindness, it is harm, because the borrower will struggle, the lender will lose, and the relationship will be damaged. Arkad separates pity from wisdom. Arkad explains something very deep. Pity often pushes us to make bad financial decisions, but money must be guided by judgment, not emotion. The turning point. Arkad advises Rodan, do not lend gold for business unless the borrower has experience, has a proven trade, knows how to produce profit. Instead, if Rodan wants to help his family, Arkad suggests a different path, a wiser form of help. Arkad suggests, if Matan truly wants to improve his situation, help him in a way that teaches him to work, teaches him responsibility, does not risk your savings. In the story, this becomes helping him learn a productive trade instead of giving him capital. The powerful principle. This chapter teaches, do not lend money based on pressure, lend only when the borrower has the ability to repay it. The emotional resolution. Rodan realizes that true kindness is not always financial. Sometimes the best help is guidance, training, and opportunity, not money. How this chapter connects to the 5 laws of gold. This chapter directly applies Law 3 and Law 4, guarding your gold and avoiding investments you do not understand. Here, the investment is a person. Modern application. This chapter is relevant today, especially for friends asking for business loans, relatives asking for startup money, people asking you to join schemes. The same dangers exist, only the names have changed. Central message of the chapter. Gold stays and grows only with the patient, informed, and disciplined owner. One-sentence summary. The gold lender of Babylon teaches how money grows when treated wisely and how it disappears when handled with ignorance, greed, or blind trust. Chapter 8. The Walls of Babylon. This chapter uses the story of Babylon's walls as a metaphor for protection, preparation, and security in both life and finances. It is short but rich in meaning. Setting of the story. The story is set during a time when Babylon was a great city, wealthy and powerful, yet constantly threatened by enemies. Babylon's famous walls were thick, high, strong enough to withstand invasions. Main characters. King, ruler of Babylon, wise and concerned for his people. Citizens of Babylon, observing and learning. Narrator or storyteller explains the lessons of the walls. While the story is historical, it is used to teach financial lessons. The walls themselves, literal meaning. The walls protected Babylon physically from invading armies, thieves, sudden attacks. They were a constant defense, not something built in haste. Symbolic meaning, financial security. The walls represent financial preparedness, having money set aside for emergencies, protection from unexpected loss, guarding wealth against risk, self-discipline, building security gradually, not suddenly. Just as walls protect a city, financial measures protect your wealth. Story example. The storyteller explains, Babylon was attacked multiple times in history. Only cities with strong walls survived. Cities without walls fell, no matter how wealthy they were. Lesson: wealth alone cannot protect you. You need a safeguard. Financial lessons drawn from the story. Emergency fund, money you can rely on in crisis. Insurance of sorts, protection against unforeseen losses. Diversification, do not rely on one source of income or investment. Gold that is unprotected can vanish as quickly as a city without walls. Psychological and emotional lesson. The chapter emphasizes prudence. Never assume that success will last forever. Always plan for potential dangers. Security is as important as growth. Connection to previous chapters. The lesson ties to saving, Cure 1, walls start with the foundation, guarding your treasures, Law 3, protecting your wealth, future planning, Cure 6, preparing for the unknown. The metaphor reinforces that wealth without protection is vulnerable. Modern application. Today, the walls of Babylon can be seen as savings for emergencies, insurance, health, home, life, conservative investments, a safety net for financial security. Without these walls, even large wealth can disappear suddenly. Central message of the chapter. Just as a city's walls protect it from attack, a person's financial safeguards protect wealth from loss and ensure long-term security. One-sentence summary. The Walls of Babylon teaches that wealth alone is not enough. Protecting and preparing your finances against unforeseen events is essential for lasting security. If you want, I can continue and do Chapter 9, The Camel Trader of Babylon, in the same detailed, vivid style. It's one of my favorite chapters. Chapter 9, The Camel Trader of Babylon. This chapter is one of the most practical and emotionally powerful in the book. It shows how experience, persistence, and practical wisdom are more valuable than shortcuts or impulsive decisions. Setting of the story. The story is set during a time when Babylon was a great city, wealthy and powerful, yet constantly threatened by enemies. Babylon's famous walls were thick, high, strong enough to withstand invasions. Main characters. Debasir, a camel trader who has fallen into debt. He had been living beyond his means. He made poor financial choices. He accumulated debt to merchants and lenders. He even lost his honor and family trust. At this point, he is desperate and facing ruin. The turning point. Conversation with Arkad. Debasir goes to Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, seeking advice. Arkad asks him simple but life-changing questions. Do you want to repay your debts? Are you willing to change your habits? Debasir admits he has no plan and no self-discipline, which caused his problems. The method Arkad teaches. Arkad gives Debasir a clear plan, which becomes the core of the chapter. Start paying off debts immediately. Begin with small payments to create momentum. Pay creditors in proportion to the size of the debt. Avoid chaos and unfairness. Save a portion of all earnings. Even while paying debts, Debasir must save to build security. Live below your means. No extravagant spending until free of debt. Honor promises and rebuild trust. Restoring honor is as important as restoring finances. Key lesson: self-discipline over luck. The chapter emphasizes that wealth and stability come from controlled habits, not random luck. Persistent, disciplined effort pays off over time. People can recover even from deep debt if they are honest and disciplined. Debasir's story becomes a manual for personal financial rehabilitation. Emotional and moral dimension. Debasir's journey shows humility. He admits mistakes. Courage. He confronts debts directly. Persistence. He follows a plan over years. This is not just money advice, it is life advice. The chapter shows that rebuilding trust and character is part of financial recovery. Modern application. Dabasir's story applies perfectly today. People struggling with credit card debt, loans, or unpaid bills, small business owners recovering from failed ventures, anyone learning to budget and rebuild savings. Key steps today: track debts and create a payment plan. Save even a small percentage of income. Cut unnecessary spending. Honor commitments to rebuild trust. Connection to previous chapters. This chapter builds on Cure 1, Save First, even while in debt. Law 3, Guard thy treasures, avoid new unwise debts. Cure 2, Control expenditures, essential to repay creditors. It is a real-world example of turning principles into action. Central message of the chapter. No matter how deep your debt or how far you have fallen, financial recovery is possible through discipline, honesty, and persistent action. One-sentence summary. The Walls of Babylon teaches that wealth alone is not enough. Protecting and preparing your finances against unforeseen events is essential for lasting security. Chapter 10. The Clay Tablets from Babylon. This chapter is one of the most historically framed and practical in the book. It focuses on record-keeping, financial responsibility, and the power of writing things down. Setting of the story. The chapter opens in ancient Babylon, where clay tablets were used for recording debts, recording loans, tracking financial transactions. These tablets were the accounts books of their time, and the story uses them to teach timeless financial lessons. Main characters: Debaris, the camel trader from the previous chapter; Arcad, the richest man in Babylon; scribes and merchants who keep the clay tablets. Debaris has now learned self-discipline, and he wants to ensure others can avoid the same mistakes he made. The problem addressed. Even in ancient Babylon, people earned money but often lost it due to carelessness. Borrowers forgot repayment schedules. Lenders forgot who owed what. Wealth disappeared because nothing was tracked. The clay tablets symbolize order, accountability, and planning. Key story elements. Debaris receives clay tablets from his creditors. These tablets contain amounts owed, repayment schedules, agreements for interest. At first, they intimidate him, but he realizes keeping accurate records allows him to plan and pay off his debts methodically. Lessons on accountability. Arcad explains, record every transaction, even small debts. Track your spending and income. Do not rely on memory. Monitor your payments. Avoid missed obligations. Keep agreements in writing. Protects both lender and borrower. Why this matters financially. Without proper records, people overborrow, payments are missed, disputes arise. Wealth disappears through mistakes. With records, debts are manageable, progress is visible, mistakes can be corrected. Confidence grows in financial planning. Principle emphasized. The chapter reinforces discipline and foresight. Financial freedom requires not only earning and saving, but also organization, accountability, and honesty. Debaris now uses the clay tablets to systematically repay debts, avoid overspending, and keep track of his growing wealth. Modern application. Today, clay tablets are replaced with bank statements, spreadsheets, budgeting apps, financial planners. The principle remains. What gets measured and recorded can be managed. Failing to track finances is one of the fastest ways to lose money, even if you earn well. Connection to previous chapters. Builds on 7 cures for a lean purse, saving and budgeting. Supports Law 3, Guard thy treasures. Accountability protects wealth. Reinforces the camel trader of Babylon, structured repayment. Central message. Wealth is preserved and grows when it is tracked carefully, debts are monitored, and every transaction is recorded honestly. One-sentence summary. The clay tablets from Babylon teaches that accurate record-keeping, accountability, and disciplined monitoring are essential to protect, grow, and manage wealth effectively. Chapter 11. The Luckiest Man in Babylon. This chapter tells one of the most memorable stories about opportunity, preparation, and action, illustrating that what people call luck is often the result of wisdom and diligence. Setting of the story. The chapter takes place in Babylon's streets and markets, where traders and merchants are busy. We meet Sharu Nada, a man who eventually became wealthy, but who started as a slave. We follow his rise, showing the key reasons he succeeds where others fail. Main character. Sharu Nada, the central figure, described as clever and hardworking, persistent and disciplined, alert to opportunities, not afraid to take calculated risks. He is later called the luckiest man in Babylon, but as the story explains, it is not because of random chance. The story, from slavery to wealth. Early life. Sharu Nada begins as a slave, owning nothing. Earning skills, he learns trades, understands markets, and builds his abilities. Saving. Even when earning little, he saves portions of his income. Taking opportunities. When a chance to acquire a profitable business arises, he acts quickly and wisely. Persistence. He faces setbacks but never gives up. Key lesson. Luck favors the prepared. Sharu Nada explains through the story that luck does not happen randomly. People create luck by being prepared for opportunity. The luckiest people are those who study and learn their craft, work hard consistently, observe opportunities carefully, act decisively when opportunity arises. The contrast with others. Many of Sharu Nada's contemporaries are lazy or careless, waiting for miracle luck, ignoring opportunities, hesitating or afraid. As a result, they remain poor, they blame fate or gods for their misfortune. Meanwhile, Sharu Nada's preparation plus action make him appear lucky to outsiders. Psychological lesson. The chapter teaches opportunity is everywhere, but only the prepared notice it. Luck is the combination of knowledge, preparation, and action. Complaining or waiting passively is a recipe for failure. Modern application. Today, this lesson applies to career advancement, skill plus readiness equals chance to be promoted, investments, research and preparation equals spotting profitable ventures, entrepreneurship, learning and preparation equals recognizing the right time to act. Even a small opportunity can become huge if noticed and acted upon. Connection to previous chapters. This chapter reinforces 7 cures for a lean purse, saving and budgeting, the 5 laws of gold, wise use of money, the gold lender, camel trader lessons, taking informed action. Central message. No one is truly lucky. Wealth and success come to those who are prepared, alert, and willing to act on opportunity when it arises. One-sentence summary. The luckiest man in Babylon teaches that fortune favors the disciplined, the prepared, and those who act decisively, proving that luck is really the result of wisdom and readiness. Chapter 12. An Historical Sketch of Babylon. This final chapter of The Richest Man in Babylon steps back from individual stories and teachings to provide historical context, connecting the lessons of the book to the real-life success of Babylon as a civilization. It shows why Babylon became rich and how the same principles apply to individuals today. Setting and overview. Babylon is portrayed as the wealthiest city of the ancient world. It was a center of trade, culture, and learning, attracting merchants from many lands. The chapter explains why Babylon survived and prospered, linking its prosperity to principles of financial prudence, discipline, and preparation. Historical background. Babylon rose to prominence under kings like Hammurabi. The city had well-planned infrastructure, strong laws and contracts, a stable economy based on trade and agriculture. The prosperity of the city was not accidental, it was built on consistent, disciplined practices, much like the financial principles taught in the book. Key connections to financial lessons: saving and storing wealth. Babylon had granaries and treasuries, similar to the idea of saving a portion of income. Investing wisely. Merchants invested in trade caravans and projects that were tested and understood, reflecting Akkad's laws about careful investments. Protection against loss. The city had walls and laws to protect assets, similar to guarding your treasures and creating financial security. Learning and education. Citizens were taught trades, record-keeping, and accounting, showing that knowledge increases earning ability, just as Dabasir learned to manage debts. Moral of the chapter. The historical sketch reinforces the idea that wealth is systematic, not random. Both cities and individuals prosper when they follow clear, disciplined principles. Prosperity is the result of habits, planning, and wisdom applied consistently over time. Babylon thrived because its people earned, saved, invested, protected, and planned, the exact same lessons Akkad taught the citizens in the stories. Psychological and practical takeaway. Consistency matters. Small, wise actions accumulate into lasting wealth. Preparation and security are crucial. Just as Babylon built walls, individuals must protect their finances. Knowledge is power. Education, skills, and record-keeping build lasting prosperity. Modern application. Today, the lessons apply to personal finance management, building businesses and investments, planning for the future with discipline, avoiding impulsive financial decisions. In short, a city's success mirrors personal financial success. Structured habits create stability and wealth. Central message. The historical success of Babylon demonstrates that prosperity comes from discipline, preparation, wise investment, and protection of assets, principles as relevant to individuals today as they were to an entire civilization 4,000 years ago. One-sentence summary. An historical sketch of Babylon connects the parables to real-life success, showing that disciplined habits, planning, and wisdom are the foundation of lasting wealth for cities and for individuals alike.